What's going on, guys? I didn't really get to film an intro for this video, so this is filmed after I recorded all of the content that you're about to watch. But we're getting ready to basically get the ball rolling with the CRX now. I haven't been able to touch it in the last month and a half due to me starting up the business and focusing on customer cars and that G8 that I was working on. I finally got that done. So now I have a little more spare time to put into the CRX. So I am going to, now that everything's all, for the most part, prepped, I'm going to go buy some paint and all that stuff. But the game plan is hopefully I want to hear the car run no later than before the end of January. It definitely needs to run because there's so much custom stuff and stuff that hasn't really been tested before, and we don't really know if it's going to work. So I definitely want to get it done as soon as possible, running, so that I can drive it around, make sure our custom coolant system is going to work. And if it's not going to work, then I need to figure something else out, but I need time. And yeah, the challenge is at the end of February, but we're at the end of December now, almost. So we have 2 months to be in Mississippi for the challenge. So we need to get everything going. Hopefully, I'm trying to figure out what I want to run for tires on it for slicks. I don't want to over tire the car. But I do have 24.5 tires on 13x10s that are on the green Civic, so I may or may not run those. I might just buy some 13x8s, but this is one of those. It's being that it's a Frankenstein motor that I don't know if anybody else has done it before. I don't know, I don't know anything about it. I don't know how it's going to perform. I don't know what the power curve is going to be like, torque curve, all that stuff. So it's all brand new to me. So hopefully, fingers crossed, car's running before the end of the year, but no later than halfway through January. So enjoy. Alright, so my dad's been putting in work. We got the whole front end off and the doors off, and he's gotten the dash out of it so far. The next part, we're going to take out all this air conditioning stuff. If anybody needs it, I have most of the air conditioning system out of this car. I know they're a factory install thing, so if anybody needs it before I trash it, everything's in here. Literally everything other than a condenser. But we're going to take all that stuff out from behind the dash and get ready to mock up the radiator. So we've got everything out from behind the dash. Now we're gonna see what we can do with this radiator. It's almost perfect. I mean, if we put it that way, we'd have to weld up the cap, but we'll do that anyway. Turn it around. Just so you guys know, this is a Civic half size. It's like a 3-core radiator, and the reason why we're experimenting with putting it under the dash is due to the RMF header and the CRX engine bay, there's not room to actually mount a real radiator up front, and I want to try to keep as much cooling capacity as possible. So rather than going with a race one, we'll test this out. The game plan is to cut these ends off here and put either -16 or -20, and then do -16 or -20, whichever one we decide on, all the way from the engine inside here. And then we're gonna get a plate and cover this off on both sides and make it a sealed unit, and then run water through it with its own system, with its own coolant system for the radiator, so that you don't have to run a fan and all that other good stuff. Alright, so we're back at it again. We got Lee and my dad here. We just ran the wire, pulled the wiring harnesses through, and we're gonna pressure wash the bay and pressure wash the interior. And ooh, Lee, don't you have a shop vac? We might need that. We gotta vacuum up the rest of the car and pull the last bit of panels out of the back. I do plan on putting the panels back in, or everything that I have at least, and just doing a complete black conversion. And depending on how well the floor and stuff cleans up, I'll probably end up painting everything white again, just do a nice fresh coat of white on everything. And the engine bay will be getting painted once I pull the motor back out of it, but we haven't really determined a color yet, so come along. Alright, so we got the engine bay. This is just hand washed right now. We're going to clean out the interior. My dad and I got the rest of the sound deadening out, so we're going to take all that out, vacuum the floors, and then we're going to load it up on the trailer and run over to the car wash and pressure wash the interior, pressure wash the bay, and bring it back. So we got her out of the shop now. It's all, the whole interior, everything soaking in Purple Power. We're gonna get it loaded up on the trailer. So we made it here to the car wash. Gonna get her all washed down and all clean. Try to keep as much water out of the motor as possible. But we're not really pressure washing the other motor, just trying to get the frame rails and the subframe and just everything clean and ready for paint, because the whole interior is getting painted. We're gonna try to clean up the wheel wells and paint the wheel wells and the engine bay. Everything's getting painted. And here's the finished product of the cleaning. As you can tell, there's still residual from the sound deadener and stuff, but for the most part, it got a lot of the like mold and dirt and just build up. You know, it's an 88, so it had dust and dirt and mold and stuff everywhere. Plus, it's got a couple of rust spots that are questionable. So overall, I can't complain. Next step, we are going to hit it with some Scotch-Brite pads and Dawn dish soap and some water, and get all the residual adhesive off and any I'm not going to be super picky with it because it is interior and it will be white, and white is super forgiving. Alright, so we got her all clean. It's a night and day difference. It's crazy. Granted, like everything underneath the sound deadening is still kind of like a yellowish tint, but everything that wasn't under sound deadening is basically like perfect white. But I still think I'm still gonna paint the whole interior just because I like it better that way, and I would prefer if it were all one color. And the engine bay came out really well too. So we're gonna get back to the shop, get her unloaded, try to dry her out as much as possible. And that will probably be the end of it for this video. Next video will be more than likely paint prep and painting, and then we have to get the shifter mounted and the shifter cables and do some more engine stuff. The head gasket still has to get put on. I have to put the ARP head studs in, and I have to put the clutch and flywheel. So a bunch of little stuff, but we're gonna pull the motor back out and get all that stuff done. Get the engine bay painted or prepped, get the interior prepped and painted. The interior for sure will be painted. I'm more than likely doing a brake booster delete, so I'm gonna take all that stuff out too. So next video will be all about paint. But until then, good night, good evening, good day. Like, subscribe, share, and stay tuned.